Welcome to Collaborative Inquiry for Students, Section 2, Part 1, Discover Compelling Whys. In Section 1, we answer the question, what is collaborative inquiry for students? In our Discover phase, we examine the spectrum of collaborative inquiry and the collaborative inquiry design components. In Section 2, we continue with a second Discover phase of our appreciative inquiry model and discover the compelling whys or reasons for implementing collaborative inquiry for students. Please locate page 33, Section 2, Discover Compelling Whys. Follow along as I read the opening quotation. For the first time in history, our job as educators is to prepare our students for a future that we cannot clearly describe. In this section of the course, we will explore the issues and trends that impact education. We will explore the mind skills and the 21st century skills our students need if we want to prepare them for the future. Please locate page 34, Topic Questions for Section 2. Our topic questions for this section state, how does collaborative inquiry develop the mind skills and 21st century skills students need now and in the future? What strategies are effective for designing collaborative inquiry for students? In this section, we will take a look at another strategy you can use to design collaborative inquiry for students. As you can see in the overview and objectives, this section focuses on the skills students need in order to live, learn, and work in the world they will encounter. The overview and objectives for this section are listed next on page 34. On page 35, Discover Compelling Whys, you will find a section map of the major topics contained in this section. Please take a moment to review this information. As you can see in the overview and objectives, this section focuses on the skills students need in order to live, learn, and work in the world they will encounter. The overview and objectives for this section are listed on page 34. On page 35, Discover Compelling Whys, you will find a section map of the major topics contained in this section. In Section 2, we will discuss 3 compelling whys for using collaborative inquiry for students, preparing minds for the future, issues and trends that impact education, and 21st century skills. You will learn a new design tool, Questions for Life, Levels of Understanding, and we will continue to examine the collaborative inquiry design components. You will experience difficult dilemmas, a problem-based learning model, and investigation of the Mobius strip, a hypothesis-based learning model from the spectrum of collaborative inquiry. In this section, you will begin discussing and planning your own collaborative inquiry EduQuest lesson for your students. Please locate page 36, Research Excerpts, and read the research excerpts. As you read, highlight any phrases that you believe show a compelling why or a reason for using collaborative inquiry for students. What compelling whys or reasons did you find for using collaborative inquiry for students? Collaborative inquiry involves real-world applications, and research shows students learn more profoundly when they can apply what they have learned to the real world. Students always look for the relevance in what they learn. Our students will have a lot of practice with collaboration, and research shows that students need the ability to collaborate with other students to solve authentic problems presented in meaningful tasks. The work competencies mentioned in the research are the same competencies students will develop when learning through collaborative inquiry. Remember, as the quotation at the beginning of the section stated, we are preparing our students for a future that we cannot clearly describe. Our students will need content knowledge, but will also need multiple skills necessary for the global society they will encounter. We must provide a variety of grouping structures if we want our students to be practiced at collaborating with different people and in different scenarios. We will model changing grouping structures throughout this course, and you will have an opportunity to work with a variety of different individuals. Next, we will model a grouping strategy called journey groups. Our journey groups will give us a variety of grouping structures to draw from as we journey through this course. So you will have a sidekick, your three musketeers, your corners group, your star group, and your tribe group. We will now form journey groups as part of our next activity. As we form groups, be thinking about how you use grouping in your classroom. Since we are learning remotely, we have also supplied a Journey Groups directions link on how to divide a classroom up into multiple groups quickly. Please go to Canvas, Modules, Section 2, Part 1 to find the groupings completed for you. As we form groups, be thinking about how you want to use them in your classroom. Locate page 37, Journey Groups. As we describe the process, jot down your groupings here. Again, you will find the information in Modules Section 2, Part 1, so you will want to write them down so you have them in a safe place. What other grouping strategies similar to journey groups do you use in your classroom? Please know there are other reasons for changing group formations for different activities. Research shows that changing the learning environment to a new location is one way to signal the brain that a change in subject or topic has occurred. This state change signals to the brain that new information is coming. Changing groups is one way to facilitate a state change when you move on to a new subject or topic. Working with different people for various activities also builds a community of learners and fosters our students' communication skills. In this day of heightened accountability, teachers must be selective with the strategies they choose to implement. To appreciate the value of implementing collaborative inquiry in the classroom, we will explore the compelling whys or reasons for using collaborative inquiry. A compelling why is a compelling reason for using a strategy. It signifies one of the main reasons why we use a strategy in the classroom. For example, the compelling why or reason for using energizers in the classroom is that the brain research shows that energizers oxygenate the brain and help students refocus their attention. In the research excerpts, we read this research that supports the use of collaborative inquiry in the classroom. In Section 2, we will explore 3 compelling whys or reasons for using collaborative inquiry for students. So please locate page 38, Compelling Whys for Collaborative Inquiry. First, we will explore how collaborative inquiry can foster the mind skills students need in the future, which Gardner addresses in his book, 5 Minds for the Future. Second, we will explore the issues and trends that impact education and discuss the face of education in the future. Finally, we will explore 21st century skills and discuss how collaborative inquiry helps develop these skills in students. Notice the quotation at the bottom of the page. 2 driving forces make lifelong learning an essential characteristic of successful people: the short shelf life of much existing information and the exponential rate at which new information develops. What does this quotation say to you as it relates to the students in your classroom? Lifelong learning is essential not only for workers, but for students. Everything changes so quickly that our students must be strong learners to keep up throughout their lifetimes. The amount of information continues to grow, and our students must be able to be discretionary and what information is valuable and what is questionable. Remember, our students must be practiced thinkers and collaborators if they wish to succeed in a world of ever-increasing and ever-changing information. We will discuss how these three topics compel educators to take a strong look at implementing collaborative inquiry in the classroom. We will explore our first compelling why for using collaborative inquiry in the classroom, which involves preparing minds for the future. Dr. Howard Gardner, in his book, 5 Minds for the Future, states that learning must be lifelong. He proposes that a new paradigm is needed in education because current practices are not working and because our world is changing and becoming more and more of a global society. He indicates 5 mind skills are at a premium today and will be even more so in the future. Gardner challenges us to nurture in ourselves and foster in our students the following mind skills: the disciplined mind, the synthesizing mind, the creating mind, the respectful mind, and the ethical mind. In your groups, you will have an opportunity to explore each of these 5 mind skills and discuss how you can prepare students' minds for the future by developing these mind skills. Notice the quotation at the bottom of the page. The empires of the future will be empires of the mind. Please turn to page 39 to review the directions for this activity. Using your STAR groups, your group of 5, you will determine which person in your group will be responsible for each of the mind skills. Locate the page indicated and read the information about your mind skill. Highlight the information you want to share with your group as you read. Using the editable Google Slides presentation for your group, create a poster of the 5 mind skills containing the following information for each mind. Please post your finished presentation to Canvas, Modules, Section 2, Part 1, Compelling Why, Number 1, Mind Skills Discussion Area. Please pause the narration until after you submit your presentation. You have now learned about Gardner's 5 minds for the future. Next, we will discuss how collaborative inquiry fosters the 5 minds needed for the future. Please turn to page 45, Preparing Minds for the Future Through Collaborative Inquiry, and read the activity directions. Please note that they will be revised to meet our remote learning environment. As a group, discuss how collaborative inquiry fosters the mind skills you just learned. Please post your reflection to Canvas, Modules, Section 2, Part 1, Preparing Minds for the Future Discussion Area. Use the editable Google Docs to have a conversation regarding the mind skill you studied. In what ways does collaborative inquiry develop the disciplined mind? Collaborative inquiry requires students to dig deeper into content and to understand the subject more in depth. This helps develop the disciplined mind. Collaborative inquiry allows students to be experts in certain areas and encourages them to acquire a depth of knowledge. Students are encouraged to seek information outside the classroom and the text and find out more about the topic at hand. In what ways does collaborative inquiry develop the synthesizing mind? Collaborative inquiry requires students to research information and then synthesize all the information each of them presents. In order for students to achieve the outcome, they usually have to synthesize what they have learned to produce the final product. If the collaborative inquiry involves more than one discipline, students will have an opportunity to synthesize the different concepts. In what ways does collaborative inquiry develop the creating mind? Collaborative inquiry usually has students creating a final product or performance that demonstrates what they know and can do. Problem solving involves creating solutions. Throughout the collaborative inquiry experience, students are sharing new ideas and ways of thinking. We felt that appreciative inquiry develops the creating mind because it focuses on change and innovation. In what ways does collaborative inquiry develop the respectful mind? Collaborative inquiry requires students to work in different groups to collaborate and reach consensus. They have to be able to work with and appreciate all types of learners, opinions, and cultures. Collaborative inquiry projects involve aspects outside of the classroom and require students to allow different perspectives and view the world from a global perspective. In what ways does collaborative inquiry develop this ethical mind? Collaborative inquiry empowers students to be self-directed learners and to be responsible to a group. The inquiry projects can be service-oriented, and collaboration requires that you put aside self-interest for the good of the group. Remember, the mind skills our students will need for the future are complex and involve skills beyond content expertise. Collaborative inquiry for students not only develops depth of knowledge, but also develops the mind skills students need to be successful now and in the future. Do your students have the mind skills they need to be successful in a new world? The rest of this session will be for you to work independently through the material. There will now be narrated PowerPoints on Canvas, Modules, Section 2, Part 1, to walk you through the rest of today's activities. Please be sure to post the activities in the discussion area or submitted assignment area before our next class. Remember, even though these activities are not graded, they must be completed to report your successful completion to your university partner. Immediately after this introduction, you will go to Canvas, Modules, Section 2, Part 1, Discover Compelling Whys. Your first video will explore problem-based learning by having you consider a difficult dilemma you have faced. Your second video will explain about 10 issues and trends. We will then consider each one through small group presentations. Your third video highlights the connections made in the course and how they can support our learners. Finally, we will be introduced to the course portfolio, which houses all of our graded activities for this course. Please remember to go to Canvas Assignments to find the 8 graded activities for this course. You will explore Assessments 1 and 2. Assessment 3 cannot be submitted until a later class. Don't forget to check off that you have completed all section activities, including your section reflection. Let the good times begin. If you have any questions while you work, please call or email your instructor. This concludes Section 2, Part 1, Introduction. Please continue to Module Section 1, Welcome, Discover. What is collaborative inquiry for students? Please continue to Module Section 2, Part 1, Discover Compelling Whys, Problem-Based Learning.